Hey everybody, welcome to Masks of Nyarlathotep, the first session of what should be a very long and interesting campaign. So we have our three players here and our guest star, and we're ready to go, so I'm just going to jump right in. Knowledge, discovery, fortune, excitement. Whatever the personal draw, you have requested and been granted participation in an expedition of discovery to the mountainous regions of Peru, planned for early 1921. The enterprise's enthusiastic organizer is a wealthy British colonial from Kenya named Augustus Larkin. You know little about the man. He is unrecognized in the archaeological community, nor has he published any papers as of yet. Whether motivated by genuine academic curiosity or mere greed, or perhaps a mix of the two, the modest amount of correspondence you have exchanged with this amateur indicates that he is nevertheless serious about the endeavor and has done the necessary research and gathered sufficient resources to ensure its success. Larkin requested you to be in New York by the first week of February. Once there, you received a telegram instructing you to join him in Lima on March 18th, with a pre-arranged booking aboard a cruise ship leaving in mid-February. After packing your things and making whatever other necessary arrangements you might have had, you boarded the SS Santa Luisa, eager to exchange the snowy streets of the eastern seaboard for the exotic climate of South America, where it currently enjoys its summer months. Once aboard the 110-passenger luxury cruise ship, you passed 3 very pleasant weeks taking advantage of the exquisite onboard dining rooms, engaging in various shipboard amusements, and venturing ashore at exotic ports of call, all on Larkin's generous tab. Indeed, so relaxing has been your journey that you might easily have forgotten that hard work and possible danger lay at the end of it. Trouble in the boiler room resulted in unexpected delays after leaving Panama, and you began to worry that you might miss the March 18th appointment. The cause of the malfunction was never clear, but the ship did manage to maintain sufficient speed to limp into Kaloa, Lima's port, on the very afternoon of March 18th, where it will no doubt lay up for some serious repairs before starting its return trip to New York. Disembarking with dozens of eager tourists, you have little trouble locating the Hotel Mari, where a room has indeed been held for your arrival. There is barely time enough to settle in before the sun begins to set over the Pacific Ocean, and Lima's nightlife slowly stirs awake. You board a tram car that will take you by the Bar Cordano, where you are to meet Larkin for the first time. As you hop down to the street and make your way toward the entrance and the cheery environment within, you see that you are not alone. 2 other people, one of whom at least you vaguely recognize as a fellow passenger from the Santa Luisa, have also left the tram and are heading inside. A waiter meets you at the door and gives you 3 a look up and down, and you see him kind of smile a little bit, and he says in English, "Can I get a table for the three of you? Or are you meeting someone?" He looks at Thaddeus as the obvious standout among the three of you for whatever reason. He seems to be the best dressed.
Well, we're supposed to be meeting somebody, but we'll take a table right now.
Yes, that would be quite nice, actually.
He shows you a table near the front door. Says, "Please have a seat while you wait for your friends. Then, what can I get for you? Drinks?"
Natalia will kind of look at the other two and look back to the waiter. Da. Could I get the vodka, please?
He seems to struggle a little with what you're saying, but he heard vodka, and so he kind of nods. "And for the gentleman?"
If I could just have the brandies, that would be very, very nice, actually.
He nods.
I'll take a gin.
Tonic or straight, sir?
I'll take a tonic.
He
I
nods.
think what he means is he would take a tonic.
A gin and tonic.
He nods and smiles a little awkwardly and heads back to the bar. Leaving
Yes,
the three of you alone.
this is good medicine, I think.
And Natalia walks over to the seat by the door, and she'll pull it out for herself. And right now she's dressed in a puffy-sleeved dress with a cinched waist and a fairly long skirt with heels. And she adjusts her ponytail before sitting down, hands on her lap, looking up to the other two.
Benjamin will actually go in behind her and help to push the chair in as the lady sits down. There you are, madame.
She'll give a bit of a curt smile. Thank you.
And Benjamin will take a seat at the table next to her, or... How many... Oh, never mind.
Thaddeus is enjoying the scenery, looking around like a... absorbing it all like a... a kid seeing some beautiful colors. Quite interesting, and he'll head towards the table. This is gonna be some adventure.
That is I guess that is what I'm hoping to get out of this, is that it will be quite remarkable. And let me introduce myself. I am Benjamin Wagner.
It is good to meet you, Mr. Wagner. I am Natalia Vaskovia, and she extends a hand to him.
And Benjamin will take it and hold it out and give a little kiss on the back of her hand. It is a pleasure, madame.
Again, she gives a wry smile before pulling back her hand. The pleasure is all mine, Mr. Benjamin.
And you, sir, what is your name?
Oh, you can call me Thaddeus.
Oh, Thaddeus. That is an interesting name. From where do you hail?
I grew up and was born in Port Washington, New York. And what about you, Benjamin?
I also come from New York.
Wow.
I've lived there for several years, and it is a very interesting place.
And
I
what about
love.
before then?
Before that, it is not very interesting.
No?
No, I don't think so.
I am interested as to why someone as you would move to the Americas.
It is a land of opportunity, and my father sought his his fame and fortune, just as any other immigrant might.
Did he accomplish this task?
Nine.
And how did that make you feel?
Well, it made me feel quite motivated, actually. I sort of used it as fuel, if you understand my meaning there.
I think I do. Fuel to press on to continue, I guess, in your career, which is...
I am actually a journalist.
And Natalia's actually leaning on the table now, kind of chin on both of her hands, folded, very interested.
Your drinks arrive at this point. The waiter very smartly places them on the table with napkins.
And Benjamin immediately picks this up and kind of swirls it a little bit and gives it a sniff. This is an interesting aroma. And he takes a sip. And over his glasses, he's taking a sip. He's staring into Natalia's eyes very deeply as to try and gauge her and try to, I guess, understand why so many questions.
And Natalia will pick up her glass of vodka and give it a bit of a raise to both Benjamin and Thaddeus before taking a modest drink of it and setting it down.
Thaddeus raises up and drink the gin down. He's looking, eyes dotting back and forth, just absorbing. Hasn't traveled, too much out of his home state, so it's kind of a new thing for him.
And Thaddeus, what exactly is that you would do?
I think the better question is, what don't I do? I like to pursue various interests that are interesting to me. Languages, history, science.
An educated man.
What kind of science?
All just different types. I like to dabble. Nothing too big. It was whatever interests me at the time.
Please elaborate on maybe some of the sciences that you study. I'd like to hear.
Well, I guess you could say a little bit of a little bit of the biology, some petrochemical stuff, mostly history. I also like, languages.
C'est intéressant.
A history buff. I too have dabbled in history. What are you maybe most interested in, Thaddeus?
What with the history? Origins. I like origins. I like learning where we came from.
Out of the
Natalia
corner of your eye, you see the bartender pointing in your direction. As the bartender's pointing in your direction, immediately you notice kind of tall, lithe-looking figure looking directly at you. He nods to the bartender, says thank you. You can kind of see him mouthing the words, thank you. And as he's nodding his head and kind of wringing his hands, he walks over to your table. As he walks over to your table, he's kind of has a slow pace, kind of dragging his feet just a little bit. His suit doesn't fit that well. It's kind of a tan color, light, probably linen. Looks like he's been in the country a little while. The suit's a little dirty. He's a little disheveled, but at the same time, he walks directly towards your table. He walks up and immediately introduces himself. Ah, yes, I am Augustus Larkin. I'm assuming you are the people that have responded to my calls for this expedition into the hills and jungles of wonderful Peru here. And he kind of looks at you, hoping he has the right group of people. You kind of see the questioning in his eyes.
Natalia will nod to him and stand up and offer her hand. It is lovely to finally meet you, Augustus. I am Natalia Paskovia. Thank you for accepting my request to join.
And he takes your hand and nods as he brings it up. He doesn't quite bring it to his mouth, but he nods his head and comes down close to it, almost as if he's going to kiss your hand. He said, "Oh, it's wonderful to meet you, young lady. Wonderful to meet you. I am so glad that you were able to join us. We could use someone of your skills. It's going to be great to have you on this expedition."
I appreciate it.
Benjamin will stand and extend a hand. Yes, and I am Benjamin. Vigas dear.
Benjamin. Good, strong name. I think you are going to do great in this country. I am glad to have you here.
And I am very excited to be here. I'm very curious to see exactly what it is that we will be getting our hands into. Is that the correct phrasing? I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, you're speaking just correctly. Yes, your hands are going to get into, well, it's going to get into history. It's going to get into the jungle. It's going to get into dirt, but if we are all fortunate enough, it's going to maybe get into some wealth as well. And then he looks over at Thaddeus and puts his hand out. And you, sir, who might you be?
The name is Thaddeus Pepin. And I too would like to thank you for accepting me on this explorer's mission.
Well, yes, of course. Do you mind if I have a seat, please?
Oh, of course.
And Augustus is nodding his head as Thaddeus is saying, of course. He's just nodding in agreement with a smile on his face as he sits down at the table with the three of you.
Benjamin actually waits until everybody is seated first and then seats himself. He is kind of high on formality.
And Natalia will sit before Benjamin does and finish off her vodka and put the glass down.
Thaddeus is gonna go ahead and sit down. His gin's already gone, and he's staring at Augustus quizzically, leaning on every word.
So Augustus looks at the group and says, I trust your journey was at least somewhat pleasant. I know long journeys can be arduous and difficult at times. I hope yours wasn't too bad. No delays, no problems getting here.
There was an issue, I think, with the ship we were on, but we got here on time, so all is well.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. It doesn't seem to have stalled you. Here you are on time. That's all very good.
Indeed.
And now that you are here, I trust you have made it to your rooms and there to your liking, yes?
Unfortunately, there was not much time to get comfortable, so I do look forward to assessing them further.
No, you haven't gotten comfortable yet. I am so sorry. We could have delayed. If you would like to, go to your rooms and get comfortable, put your bags away, put your things away, freshen up. Otherwise, if not, I can get right to it.
And then Talia shakes her head. I would prefer to get started as soon as possible.
As you say that, a man kind of shuffles over to the table, and he looks right at Larkin kind of questioningly and looks at the three of you and just sort of stands there. He looks a little disheveled, somewhat like Larkin, somewhat young, probably in his 30s. Definitely not American or British, and stands there just kind of staring at the table, kind of questioningly, and then looks at Larkin questioningly.
And Larkin kind of says, "Oh, yes," and he stands up. He puts a hand on his shoulder and introduces him. This is my man in country. He is showing me about the place. What I don't know, he does. This is Mr. Mendoza. Mr. Mendoza, these are the people that I've hired to help us in the jungle. We're going to go to the pyramid, and we're going to hopefully find what it is we are looking for. And he kind of just puts a hand out as if to present Luis de Mendoza.
And Mendoza just doesn't say anything, but he just kind of and just kind of nods in greeting.
Benjamin will actually, he raises his glass to his lips and begins to take a drink, but he's staring at Larkin and this Mendoza as if he's looking into the sun. Yeah, so his eyes are quite squinted, but if you were to look at him, you could tell he's quite sharp as he's staring them down. He's just trying to gather anything that he can from their body language or anything like that. He's very interested he's a big people watcher, so it's very interesting to him.
You can certainly make a psychology roll if you'd like to get a read on them. Yeah, make sure you do,
Oh yeah, from the sheet.
macro.
Or not from the sheet.
Yeah. That's okay, so this was a normal result, so
yeah.
That was extreme. Alright, well, you see that Mendoza, your impression of him is that he seems very nervous, and so he's acting kind of like a fish out of water. He doesn't seem very comfortable in the environment here.
Okay.
And Larkin seems to maybe be overcompensating a little bit for him. He's got almost like an apologetic manner when he puts his hand on Mendoza and kind of presents him.
So Benjamin will set his brandy down then and quickly reach into his pocket, into his inside pocket, and pulls it out. And he just sketches a couple little notes about Mendoza and Larkin.
Yeah, when you
then
start
just
scribbling
smiles.
notes, Mendoza just kind of, you can see him kind of obviously sort of peer, like he's curious about what you're writing. But he doesn't say
And
anything.
as Benjamin looks up and sees Mendoza staring at him, he just gives a sly smile, just a half grin.
So Larkin looks to Mendoza and says, "Go ahead, get it out of the bag. I have some things I want to show you." He addresses the rest of the group. "I have some things that I want to show you. What would you say? Call it a proof of concept, an idea. Maybe a little more encouragement that what we are doing is real and it's substantial."
All right, Mendoza heads back to a table that apparently Larkin and Mendoza were sitting at, and there you see kind of the back profile of a dark-haired, short dark-haired, well, the hair is short, a dark-haired man sitting at that table. Mendoza seems to kind of ignore him and reaches down and grabs a satchel. And starts back without a word, and the black-haired man kind of turns around to follow where he's going, and you can see that he is indeed a black man. And Mendoza comes over to your table and just kind of presents the satchel to Larkin.
And Larkin pulls out, he opens the bag, he sets it down with kind of a clunk on the table. And as he sets it down, he unzips the bag and pulls a couple of things out of it. And one of them is an item, and it looks like a pendant. It's kind of a gold pendant in the shape of a man. And this man is holding two rods in his hands. And in the rods are kind of embellished with different shapes, rectangles, that kind of thing, rectangular shapes. And he kind of hands that off to one of you on one end so that you can start looking at it and passing it around. And then he pulls out, almost reverently, holding it in two hands. He gently holding the bottom as he, caresses the top. He pulls out a golden cup. And he points out, see here, these same carvings, the same rectangles, the geometric shapes, they are all inlaid here. And as you look, you can see the inlay of all these rectangular shapes on this brilliantly golden cup are all inlaid with turquoise. And he hands that over so that you can pass it around as well. And then he leans over and whispers to, Mendoza, "Go get our other guest. Do not leave him over there."
Mendoza kind of frowns for a moment, but he turns and goes back to the table.
Yeah, as if on cue, I think he said that Jesse was following to begin with, over this way.
Yeah. So he's heading back to the table and sees that the black man is already kind of on his way over, so he just kind of turns and comes back.
And as Jesse approaches the table, Larkin stands up to introduce him and again puts his hand out almost as if presenting him, and just kind of nods and sits down as Jesse is standing there waiting for him to introduce himself.
Thank you, Mr. Larkin. I'm assuming these are the rest of our guests for the expedition, yes?
Indeed, yes, they are. They are.
Excellent. Nice to meet you all. My name is Jesse Hughes. I'm the interpreter for this fine adventure that we find ourselves on. Walks over and Jesse's very well dressed. Bit of a tweed suits, I think, is what we're looking for. Nice tweed suit. He has a fedora on. Not a big or particularly intimidating guy. It's kind of extends his hand to everybody at the table as far as shaking hands with everybody who was involved.
Benjamin will take his hand. Guten Nachmittag. And he gives a small nod.
Nod to him. And your name, sir?
My name is Benjamin Wagner.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance, Mr. Wagner. I look forward to traveling with you. And then he'd go over
The-
to
The pleasure is mine.
Jesse would nod and go over and extend his hand to Thaddeus. And you, sir?
Let's take his hand. Charmed, I'm sure. This is quite the experience so far. It's a pleasure to meet you.
You as well, and you are?
I'm Thaddeus.
Nice to meet you, Thaddeus. I'm looking forward to traveling with you. And you, ma'am?
And Natalia will extend her hand to Jesse. It is nice to meet you. Natalia Paskovia.
Oh, Russian?
Da.
Ah, Dobry Vesher Mem. I just try to speak very poor Russian. But
And Talia will actually smile kind of widely at that. Good try.
we're trying to work on different languages. Very spotty, but I'm working on it.
It is alright. You need practice, but depending on how long we spend in this expedition, ask me any question you need.
I appreciate it. I will definitely take advantage of that. Within reason, of course.
The waiter approaches. He's been kind of waiting for the conversation to die down a moment, and approaches Mr. Larkin. He says, "I assume you have found your party, senor."
I did. Thank you very much. I did find them. I appreciate you.
Will you be ordering dinner, perhaps?
And he looks at the rest of the group. You must have developed quite the hunger on this travel. How would you like to have dinner?
That would be lovely.
Cooked, if possible.
The waiter doesn't understand you're joking and kind of looks at you curiously, and he passes a simple sheet as the menu. And you see Mendoza wait for Jesse to take a seat.
And Jesse would.
And when Jesse takes a seat, he takes a seat that's as far away at the table from Jesse as he can get. Kind of moves the chair a little further away and holds another chair out for Augustus. And then sits down. So I take it there's a little time where you look over the menu, choose what you're going to have, and the waiter takes your order, and then you're waiting for your food.
Well, now that I have you all here, it's wonderful that I'm glad that the party is all here ready and accounted for. I'm very excited. If you can't tell, this is going to be something great for all of us, for everyone involved. So you must have questions. Surely you have questions. Is there anything I can answer for you?
Da. I have a few. My first question is, and I slightly maybe hoping I'm incorrect, is this the extent of the party?
The extent of the by no means. No, you are simply the experts, professionals that are invited to this party. No, we of course are going to have drivers, and we're going to have some people that will be helping with more manual tasks and labor. We're going to have people who can, haul our things. This here represents the core, if you will, of the people that will be taking care of the main purposes of the party, which is your expertise in your different fields.
Another question. How did you get your hands on these things?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. Now, this lost pyramid where I found these, and he holds that cup out again, and it kind of light hits it and glints off of it. I was traveling the highlands from an alpaca farmer. I heard about it from an alpaca farmer. He told me about this pyramid that's up in the foothills, and he said his grandfather had found the site. They had taken some items, and he handed those over to me. But for whatever reason, due to his fear, superstition, that kind of thing, these peasant people are all very superstitious. They refused to go there. I could not get them. And it turned out to be a much bigger expedition than I planned on my own. So I, of course, went, looked at the area, recovered these items and these objects, and this gave me all the proof I need that he was telling the truth. So I now want to go out and uncover the pyramid permanently to find what is inside. It will be great for history, and it will be great for us individually.
And is your goal at the end of all of this, once we have uncovered this pyramid, is your main goal to just uncover it to gain whatever riches it may hold, or is it to get your name out there?
Well, as a budding archaeologist myself, I would like to get my name on there, maybe write a paper. I would like to give this gift back to the people of Peru. This is their culture and their history, and I would like to see it back in their hands. I can't deny that there might be some wealth involved with us, or some fame involved for us involved, but that is the way these things go.
Now, and please, this is just my general inquiries, and I do not hope you get offended at this question. But do you think the people of Peru do want this uncovered? Or do you think you are maybe only doing this to further your own career?
Well, I think it's just a little of both. I do think the people of Peru want this uncovered. This is their history and their culture. Of course they want this found. They want it to be known. Maybe some superstitious locals, some farmers, they might be averse to it, but I don't think that the country as a whole would be adverse to it.
And Natalia will take out a notepad and note a few things down. It is very interesting. I am looking forward to working with a man like yourself.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to uncover this pyramid and show Peru, show the world what it is that we have found here. And he kind of takes a sip of his drink and looks over at Mendoza, looks at the rest of the group.
Mendoza's
just kind of
actually looking at Natalia. He's got kind of, I guess, Natalia, you'd probably describe it as kind of a hard look. He's kind of staring you down a little bit, and then he notices Augustus looking at him, and he kind of breaks contact and looks at Augustus.
Can I make a, I don't know, psychology check on that one?
Sure. He looks irritated, would be your assessment. You don't know why. But though as you were talking, you noticed him making small signs of being increasingly irritated.
Natalia will also scribble some more notes just down upon that. And she looks towards Mendoza and then folds the notepad back up and closes it, placing it on her lap.
Larkin just is kind of enjoying his drink and looking around the table, small talk here and there. Where are you from? How was the trip? What was your favorite sites? That kind of thing. He's just, like I said, making small talk while he, waits for anyone else to ask him anything else. He's here to update this group about this expedition. So,
Has Larkin left the two artifacts with the with the 3 people, or has he taken those back?
Well, they're sitting on the
Yeah,
table.
they're just sitting on the table.
Okay. Benjamin will actually pick up the artifacts and take his little notepad out and lay a sheet of paper over top of it and just do an outline scribble
Mm-hmm.
on both of the artifacts, and then he just puts both of the sheets back into his notepad and stuffs it back into his inner pocket.
Okay.
These are very interesting.
Are you going to be publishing a piece on this once it is finished, Benjamin?
I certainly hope that there is something here that is worthwhile. I would most definitely like to expose what is happening down here.
Expulsion.
I think if we can bring awareness to it, it may be good.
Why do you think that?
Well, it's just like anything else. When there is a war, what do we know most about? Just the good guys versus the bad guys, right? I like to go a little bit deeper, if you understand my meanings there. I like to be first-hand with the soldiers, and I like to know them on a first-name basis, if at all possible, and tell their stories. It helps to bring awareness, and as you write a story or have a story published, it really helps to give more tie more emotion to the story. Does that make sense? It helps to really bring the readers in, and when you tell a story from their eyes, from the eyes of the soldier, then it just adds so much more flavor and so much more color.
That's
I
a
see.
astute observation. So, are you a writer or author?
I am actually a journalist.
Nice. Very nice. Are you independent or syndicated?
No, I'm actually an independent writer. I have a few smaller pieces that have been published. However, there is not much recognition that has gone there.
And then as the dinner gets put down in front of them, did you happen to bring any pieces with you?
No, I did not actually bring anything other than just what I'm currently working on. I find it's best to fully immerse yourself in what you're doing currently, if that makes sense to you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And as Benjamin's dinner arrives, this is one of my favorite dishes, a special.
Natalia will take her dinner, giving a curt nod to the server, and just takes very small bites while kind of looking everyone over very carefully.
Thaddeus, with some proper etiquette, is cutting his food with small pieces and daintily forking it into his mouth, famished but eating civilized.
Augustus just takes a big bite of food. Not as civilized. He kind of takes a bite of food, and as he's taking a bite of his food, he's kind of just nodding his head and smiling as he's chewing and watching everyone, kind of just impressed with what he's been able to pull off and gather here. He's excited for this expedition, so he's pretty pleased with himself right now. He's happy that everyone is around this table eating right now. So he's just nodding his head and chewing his food and eating. Not very graceful, but obviously very thrilled.
Mendoza just ordered a simple plantain dish, and he eats with his hands. And yeah, so he doesn't really say much.
Jesse would look at that, and there's silverware on the table, right?
Yes.
Jesse would look at him eating with his hand, look at the silverware. And, something wrong with the fork, Mr. Mendoza? And just kind of looks around the table and just kind of slyly smiles and looks back to Mendoza.
He just looks at Jesse and kind of pointedly picks up another piece and crams it into his mouth.
So as Larkin's eating, between bites, everyone kind of sitting there, eating their food, drinking their drinks, Larkin starts offering up some information. He says, so, the pyramid is up in Lake Titicaca. It is a few days from here. It's a journey from Puno. Puno is just a small little village, town area. It's located, the pyramid is located probably near Lake Titicaca. As far as from what the farmer could tell me, that is our goal. That is our destination.
How long of a journey is it? They just kind of speak up slow. I kind of lean in every word.
Well, it is a few days' journey from Puno. Puno is, oh, I don't know, what is Puno? And he looks over at Mendoza. How far would you say Puno is?
He shrugs and then holds up 3 fingers.
So 3 days, about 3 days. At the most, I would think. Puno's 3 days. And then just a few days from there is Lake Titicaca.
Oh, it sounds like quite the journey.
Well, like I said, this is an expedition of great proportion. I have not spared expenses, as you can see, by the dinner you're eating and the travel you took to get here. Your lodgings, when you finally do get a chance to get in there. I am fully on board with this expedition, and I have backed it completely.
How did you get the funds to back something like this, being a archaeologist who is not been recognized yet?
Well, I am somewhat ashamed to say that all my funds come from my father. My father, well, bless his soul, he was a very wealthy man who left me a considerable amount of money. In my younger days, I did not protect that money as well as I should. I was not as responsible as I should. I am trying to make amends for that, but nonetheless, I still have quite a considerable amount.
Did you and your father have a good relationship?
Oh, Papa, he was the best. We had a great relationship. I to this day wish he could be here. He could see what I am doing now. He would be very proud.
And I am assuming because you are trying to make amends for not spending the previous funds in a, as you say, maybe good way, this is your way to kind of maybe repay him and do right by him, no?
Well, I would always like to do right by Papa. He was a good man, like I said, and he left me a considerable amount of money. I don't know that I am trying to repay him, per se. I just would like to make him proud. If he could look down on me and see me, I would just like him to see me doing something great, something worthy of his last name.
Was he not proud of you before?
I'm sure he was. Papa loved me, but it doesn't change the fact that I still look for, things to do in my life that could make him proud. I don't think any child changes from that.
Mendoza turns to Larkin and says something in Spanish. It's a question, which I don't think any of you except Jesse speaks Spanish. But his question is, why is the woman asking so many questions?
And Larkin just kind of brushes him off as he leans over and asks him a question. Larkin just kind of uses his hand to kind of wave him off. He's like, siéntese, siéntese. Be quiet.
He, Mendoza just kind of shakes his head and he says in Spanish to Larkin, "I will be waiting for you outside then." And
Very well.
And he gets up from the table and walks out.
Larkin turns around to the group and he says, "Please, please forgive my guide. He is not used to Western style of camaraderie or our customs. He comes from a small village, and I think maybe part of him thinks that we should not be going to the pyramid either. Superstitions and all, you know."
And what, might I ask, are these superstitions?
Oh, these superstitions, I don't know. They are boogeymen. They are monsters. They come up with all kinds of things. I never really pay attention or take them seriously. I just know that peasant people have a way of telling stories to keep their kids from going into the jungles. So I know that this is likely all it is.
Well, does every country not have its own superstitions? Every country has its own boogeyman.
Well,
So
of course.
I think it's best not to necessarily wave them off. This is quite interesting, actually. I would like to know more.
Well, I think it's interesting. I think the only thing interesting about it to me, though, is how it has kept the people away from their history and their culture. It's a shame. Peru should be proud and glad to have this kind of architecture in its own yard. And here it is, overcome by jungle, left by time, rotting out there. And no one there to appreciate it, to extol its virtues. This is a great time for Peru.
Perhaps we shall see, I suppose.
I personally think this is a very good idea. I mean, it is obvious that the people here are their superstitions. There might be something in our history, maybe bad, to do with these pyramids that has been passed down. But it will maybe be interesting to see how they react once it's uncovered.
Well, I think once it's uncovered and the country as a whole has it back in their hands, they will be so proud, and our names will be remembered.
Perhaps they will open a museum.
Yes, well, as soon as we uncover the pyramids back in the government's and the people's hands, I still think that it is something that we can all be proud of being a part of.
Yes. And if my experience has taught me well, is that the underprivileged don't know what they want until they receive it. So once we give it to them, they will greatly embrace it, I'm sure.
Larkin takes he takes like a handkerchief out from inside of his coat, and he's kind of just dabbing his head and wiping the sides of his face. It's warm, and he obviously looks like he's hot, somewhat sweating as he dabs his forehead, and he says, "Well, it will be a great thing to see. I can promise you that." And he's kind of shaking the handkerchief as he dabs away at his head.
It is warm in
okay?
here.
Yes. Larkin, are you in need of perhaps some cold water?
No. It's this country. My skin and my blood isn't made for it, but it is still it is what it is, and I go with it.
Perhaps your body is not entirely acclimated to the climate here.
Well, it may not be, but it will be soon.
The waiter brings the check. Anyway. I trust everything was to your satisfaction, senor.
Yes, very much. Larkin kind of nods his head, and he's appreciative. He hands over some. He takes the check and he stands up and he looks to the rest of the group. Well, if you don't mind, I am going to take care of this. But please, I have left an open tab at the bar. If you would do me the favor and the honor, if you would enjoy the company of each other, have some drinks, and I will reconvene with you all in the morning.
Thank you very much. The dinner was lovely.
And Larkin kind of looks at everyone, nodding and smiling, and dabs his head again, wiping the sweat from his brow off the side of his face and down the side of his neck. And he smiles and nods, gives a short little bow almost to the table, and he leaves the items on the table. Just feel free to look over them, get whatever information from them you can.
Benjamin will actually stand and... Yes, thank you, Larkin. These will be quite interesting to investigate further. I think there is much we could possibly learn from these, as small as they are.
Very well, that's wonderful. Well, you take your time with them, and see you all in the morning. I believe the trucks will be leaving in 2 days' time, so that we can go to Puno.
3 days time.
3 days' time,
Friday,
sorry.
they're leaving Monday.
And in that time, I will see you again tomorrow, and we have plenty of time to talk about all of this and arrange our plans.
Da. This is very good.
Well,
Benjamin
thank
will
you.
give a small nod. Schönen Tag.
And Larkin just nods. He nods to all of you, wipes his brow again, and makes his way out the door.
All right, that leaves the four of you alone. Let us take a very quick bio break, and then we will come back.
Awesome. Now I can look into why I'm getting robotic. Oh god, it's like sometimes every other word I'm just like, oh man.
Oh no. So racism and sexism everywhere.
1920s, boy.
I'm surprised no one else is calling me on it.
The thing is, Luis could just be a dick. You don't know.
That's true, he is a dick. Change your name to Peeper.
Peeper.
Peeper guest.
Yeah. Yep, well, you should change your name to Peeper.
That old Peeper. He's sneaking and peeping in here.
Did you stop the recording?
Oh, I can pause mine.
No, you have a guest appearance now, Bo. Welcome.
Yeah. Oh!
We can make Ted edit out if he really cares that much. It's
Oh,
fine.
He's leaving the intermission thing up, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like a fun one so far.
Robots.
Oh no.
I like the intermission screen. I have to include that in mine.
Music should.
I like ripping off ideas from people. It's the way to
the
do it.
cinematic beginning. Damn. Jesus. I'm so impressed.
Yeah, I missed the first part of that.
Oh shoot. I'm having like internal meltdown. It
Yeah,
was great.
I have to watch it.
Oh god, it was so good.
Rolling APIs like a movie.
You could play that early on Halloween.
Oh yeah.
I will leave work.
You'll leave.
Um,
We talked about this. Just going up and leave.
Better I'll come in late in the session.
Every future reference, my sciences are not that great.
oh yeah, I was gonna call you on it, and I'm probably she's gonna call you on it and be like, history, really?
What sciences?
Oh God.
What
Yeah.
histories? What origins?
No, the origins of man, of course. No, see, I can get by with the history and stuff, and some of the archaeology stuff is just the sciences. It's more of I put
we
two
go.
things together and they blow up and called it a day.
And how does that make you feel?
Fantastic.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, he's a straight dabbler, so there's nothing like really, really strong in any of his pursuits.
Is this something?
Pause.
Resume.
Oh, there we go.
Alright. You are now all by yourselves, the four of you, at the bar.
Are we sitting at the bar or still at the table?
You're sitting at the table.
So, Natalia will finish off her second round of vodka and wave the server over again.
Mm-hmm. He snaps to it.
Another one, please.
He just nods and asks if anyone else wants some more drinks.
Yes, sir. I think it would be nice for another brandy, if possible.
He nods. Yeah,
I will take another gin and tonic.
as well.
I'll take a nice red, please. Red wine, if you don't mind.
And he
The
disappears.
man has fine taste, I see. A very fine taste.
Oh, if it's on somebody else's tab, I might as well.
Yes, I am in agreement. It is not very nice when someone else is willing to spend the coin.
Yes, I've learned that Mr. Larkin's a very generous man for some of his faults, I suppose.
And what exactly do you mean his faults, and how generous are you talking here?
Oh, I maybe overstepped my bounds. I think he's just very serious about making sure this expedition gets off the ground, that's all. I think that sometimes he pushes himself more than he needs to make that happen. But
And
He seems to have a lot invested in this.
because he takes it very seriously, just making sure that he has all of his bases covered before we set out.
and what about all the people who are closest to him? How does he pushes them as well?
I don't know more than I think he needs to as necessary. I think that he makes sure all his staff are taken care of. He just expects a lot from his people. He really wants this to go off without any kind of hitch, I think. What I've observed so far, anyway.
I see. Yes, this Larkin seems very interesting indeed.
Yes, but I have to admit I'm a bit more interested in you lot. I wasn't really aware of more experts coming in. I'm kind of curious about what expertise you can lend to the expedition.
Myself personally, or just as a whole?
Oh, well, I can definitely start with yourself, sir. I just meant to query all of you to kind of get a sense of your passions and what made you come on this trip.
Well, I was very curious about the entire thing from the beginning, as it was another opportunity to get out and away from New York and write another piece. I'm very interested, as I said, in getting that personal story. I would like to see, from the eyes of the worker, of the excavator, or of the researcher. It's all very interesting to me.
I see. So it's professional interest in just kind of getting to know people on the expedition and what he's looking for here.
Yes, more or less, I would say. And this story is, of course, it has to be just right. It has to be crafted just so. And I think that this could be such an amazing story, and for me to be a part of this, it could be just, as I said, it could simply be just incredible. And I think that the world is worthy of learning of such a story and such a tale.
Absolutely. And looks over at Natalia. And you, miss, what brings you out to these parts to explore this country?
And Talia will lean back slightly in her chair, hands folded in her lap again. Well, I am a psychologist, and I am extremely interested in both the want to do something like this and also the execution of the discovery and how it is going to affect the people here.
So you're studying more the people and their minds, not so much the journey. Is that kind of what we're looking at?
Exactly. And because we are all venturing into extremely, I'm assuming for most of us, unknown territory, I am here for professional counsel. If any of you, and she looks at all three of you, if any of you need to discuss anything, and I know I'm very, very, very well versed, and people do not like to talk about their mental state, especially with one as myself. But I am here for professional guidance.
I personally think that would be very useful in days to come. I hear that it can be very trying to navigate this path that we're on. I think that'll be valuable.
I appreciate that you understand my, or at least the science of psychology. Not many, some, but not many.
It's important to have an open mind for such things, even if they're not established yet. And then Jesse will look over at Thaddeus. And what about you, sir? What brings you to these parts?
Thaddeus, I was waiting for the waiter to come over and to refill it and get another drink.
Yeah, it has been refilled. I just didn't want to interrupt.
Excellent. And so I'm gonna go over and Jesse. Well, I always wanted to do something more adventurous. I'm more of a homebody. You know, I need to get out and see some things, and this seems like quite a bit of good fun. That, and if I enjoy it and see some possibilities, I would also not, kind of interested in backing more research and expedition into the area.
So you're an adventurous type. What do you do to bring in the income? Not to pry, of course, just kind of getting a sense.
Oh, well, just like a lot of us rich people out there, we just have to be born into it. But my bank account's supported by some healthy industry, from my dearly departed parents.
I see. Well, so I imagine you just kind of dabble. You've got no concerns about income. You might as well dabble around and see what there is that life has to offer, I suppose.
Yeah, that's the gist of it. I mean, back when I went to the college, it was quite fun to learn new things. Met my dearly deceased wife there, and and I like to dabble in a bit of everything, anything that takes my interest.
I'm sorry to hear about your wife, but I admire your viewpoint, Thaddeus. It's very important to live life through experiences, I think. Experiencing other people, places, important. So, I had another question about this since some of you seem kind of inquisitive about it, what did you think about the superstitions that Mr. Larkin mentioned?
Superstition, you say?
Yeah, with the common folk a bit afraid of this discovery.
Well, the comic folk are afraid of a lot of things. They don't like to be disrupted in their things that work now thing. You know, they are afraid of change.
True, but who knows his land better than a farmer?
Well, and that's the reason the farmer doesn't want his, his profession to be upset. You know, with new discoveries means more people. Things will change. Maybe for the good, maybe for the bad, but mostly I'm thinking it would be for the good if what Mr. Larkin said was correct.
So what about the rest of you? What are your opinions on it?
Well, I also have some slight interest in anthropology, which is why I'm assessing at least kind of the common folk, as Thaddeus says, around here. Usually there is a reason for this kind of superstition, whether it is passed down from generation to generation. There's some reason they are very hesitant to go to a place like this, but no one seems to be saying anything, which is interesting.
Yes, I think that Herr Larkin, he is not entirely wise to sort of ignore these superstitions and the opinions of these locals. I think that with all superstitions and with all myths, I do believe that there is some degree of truth in all of the high fantasies and odd stories. There is always something that it originates from. But that is my experience.
I would not say unwise, personally. He does seem very anxious to get started, but to say he is unwise, I feel that is incorrect.
Well, I don't think... perhaps it is a language barrier, but I don't think that it is... How do I say this? To ignore all of these things that are around him and the things that all of the locals are saying, I do believe, as I said, I do believe there is some degree of truth that is there. And I don't mean to say that he is unwise as if he is not an intelligent man, because he seems very intelligent and quite keen to the details, and he is very interested in learning. But I do believe possibly that his eagerness is perhaps getting the best of him in this particular instance.
Wisdom and intelligence do not equate.
I have to say that I do have another portion of this expedition that I am, well, somewhat an expert on. I am a folklorist, particularly interested in these parts. I have learned a bit about some of the superstitions that Mr. Larkin is perhaps not bringing up with all of this.
Like what?
Please tell. Do tell more.
Well, I was thinking perhaps if you're truly interested, perhaps we could... Well, I do have a... he sounded a bit uncomfortable. I have a meeting with somebody who's it's a professor of archaeology, right? Tomorrow morning. And seeing as you all seem to be part of this journey tomorrow morning, pardon me, it's tomorrow evening, around afternoon, 2 p.m., where I was going to discuss some things about these superstitions, learn more about what's going on, sort of pick this professor's brain, if you will. If you wanted to join me, I don't think there'd be any harm in bringing you along.
Well, I think that would be quite fascinating.
Is to talk to an expert in the field of archaeology, especially regarding this area, would be most beneficial.
Do you think they would be angered or upset if I were to jot down some notes during this meeting?
No, I certainly hope not, because I'll be doing much the same.
Ah, perfect.
And what about you, Thaddeus? You think you'll be joining us tomorrow for the meeting?
Well, Thaddeus is smiling ear to ear. Oh, I'll be very excited to do so. I am looking forward to getting the most out of my time here.
Well, then it's decided. And then he finishes his glass of wine. Well, I don't want to partake in Mr. Larkin's hospitality too deeply. I want to make sure I have a clear head tomorrow and don't want these to come back to bite me in the morning. But I had to say again, it's a pleasure meeting all of you. I think we're going to become very good friends along this trip. He goes to shake everybody's hand again before departing.
Benjamin stands and shakes his hand. I think that this could be quite a good partnership.
And Natalia will also extend her hand to Jesse. It was nice meeting you, and look forward to working closely with you on this mission.
Thaddeus just shake Jesse's hand. It was a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow and talking to you some more. This is a whole lot to take in.
Indeed, and pleasure's all mine. Gentlemen, ladies, and he puts his fedora back on and saunter off.
Heads out.
I think very interesting companies that Larkin keeps amongst his personnel.
Indeed, it is interesting. So, the two of you, it sounds like you both sought out Mr. Larkin in order to come on the expedition.
Oh yes, most definitely.
Well, he put the word out, yes. And all three of you responded.
Yes, it was not entirely difficult to get aboard the expedition. I found the entire prospect quite interesting, personally.
Though, and she'll kind of look over the two of you. I am intrigued as to why the two of you were chosen for this expedition and not anybody else. Not saying it was a bad choice, do not get me wrong. But, and she kind of gives more of a look to Thaddeus, it's interesting.
Oh, you think so?
Indeed.
Well, I think that Thaddeus here, he has already expressed his interest in adventure. I think that is the reason enough. And for myself, despite my physical appearance and my charming words and my, I don't know how to put it into words necessarily, but despite all that, I do enjoy getting dirty and getting down into the thick of it.
And Natalia will kind of hold her hand over her mouth and laugh a little bit. Oh my. I will say I am looking forward to working with the both of you. Like I said, my earlier words were not meant as a slight. Do not take it as that.
Well, not the slightest.
And I think that the two of us, Mr. Sadius and I, will be quite interested to see exactly how you fit into this puzzle as well. Just as I'm sure that all of us are quite interested in how each of us will all fit into the entire thing.
Like I said, the mental faculties are extremely important, and especially if we are going to be traveling into a pyramid, I am not sure how each of us will maybe keep up and be healthy of the mind. Think of me almost as, though I do not have a doctorate, more of a healer of your brain in a way. If things come to, I say, oh, if worse comes to worse and you start feeling a bit edgy, just come talk to me. I will assist.
Well, I thank you for the kind offer.
It is my job. Well, I wish it was my job full time.
The waiter comes over and says, "Will there be anything else this evening?"
Benjamin just puts up a hand and says, "No, thank you. I'm quite good already."
I will take another vodka. And after that I'm done.
He nods.
You wouldn't
So
have.
cons-
You wouldn't happen to have any sherry, would you?
Perhaps.
That'd be the perfect nightcap.
He,
The constitution of the Russians never ceases to amaze me.
It is something that we are trained with when we are 10. Which is very deadpan.
The waiter comes back with something for each of you. He says, "The bartender assures me this is very close to sherry, senor." And gives you some.
Yeah, give it a little sip and let it sit in his mouth before he swallows it. Close. Not quite, but close. I do appreciate it.
Natalia will kind of shoot down the vodka before putting down the glass. Shall we all head back together?
I think that as Sadius here, he is quite interested in his drink.
Kind of look at Thaddeus. Just watch him drink.
Savoring it.
Just watch.
Benjamin will actually stand up away from the table for a moment. Ah, yes, that is good. I needed to stretch my legs. I feel like I've been sitting for what feels like forever. He'll go over to Natalia's chair. Madame?
Thank you. And she'll get up from her chair. How kind.
He just gives a curt nod. And Mr. Sadius, how long before we could perhaps expect you?
Oh, I'll be right on my way in a minute. And he'll stand up and with his glass and sip it a little faster.
So good, so good, so good.
Then he'll set it down. All right.
Let us retire.
Yes.
All right. You leave the bar, There's quite a nightlife still going on outside, but you have no trouble finding your way back to the hotel. It's actually not very far. And you all have rooms. Oops, he's not with you. You all have your own rooms. And actually, I'm not sure I made it clear. You did have time to check in all of your stuff, so your things are already. You didn't probably pack them away if that's your thing, but you did at least get to settle in a little bit before having to head out. So, unless there is anything else, we'll just pass the night.
Sounds good.
All right.
Guten Abend.
Good night. And as Natalia does go to her room, she makes sure to unpack everything carefully, kind of fold it and put it away before she goes to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin will make his way to his room, and he'll actually grab out his camera, and he just wants to go and get some pictures of the nightlife and the he wants to get sort of the general scenery so that he may study them later and to help better jot his notes and everything.
All right, he does that.
Thaddeus will carry on to his room and start undressing from his little day clothes and taking out his pocket watch and setting it down next to his bedstand and gets ready to turn in for the night.
Now, is he used to having a valet do all that kind of stuff for him, or is he his own dresser?
He's had the valet, but he's not, he's used to it, like the undressing part, because he's not too keen on, just being totally undressed, but a little awkward.
All right. All right, then. You all go to sleep. The night passes uneventfully, and you all wake up whenever you wake up the next morning. That's sort of your call.
So Natalia actually gets up 5 a.m. Or whatever 5 a.m. is, like very early, like crack of dawn. Yeah, she'll be changing into at least some sort of whatever the time was. 'Cause I think women's pants, 1920s. Yeah, so at least some sort of fitness esque gear. And hopefully not too many people are out because she's gonna be going for a run in the morning.
It's a Saturday, so no, there's no one. Well, there are some people that are getting ready to go to work, but the city is mostly quiet. It was, as you were going to bed, there was still sounds of celebration and noise and music out on the streets. It seems that the people of Lima stay up quite late on Friday nights, as a rule. So Saturday morning is naturally fairly quiet.
I should be doing a bit of a workout routine in the morning.
All right.
Kind of keeping it up.
Benjamin is also quite an early riser, and he gets up and immediately begins to assemble essentially a small black room in his bathroom. And he, I don't know entirely how long that might take, but as soon as he finishes that, he begins to develop photos.
Okay.
Thaddeus is normally an early riser, but he slept in a little bit longer. Gets up and he slowly gets dressed, but he's not like hurrying to get out of his room. He sits down and stares at his pocket watch and goes through some of his things and stuff.
Alright, and I assume Jesse is also rising reasonably, I don't know about early, but...
Jesse would probably get up about 9, 10. He's not an early riser. He's enjoying his time here.
Alright. Well, you are all up then. And can do as you please. If you...
Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm just going to
Is like
assume
a-
that we're going to move ahead to the meeting at 2, unless there's something specific you want to do. Larkin did mention meeting you in the morning, but did not give you any specifics about when or where.
Since the morning, after Natalia kind of goes for a run and does some strength exercises, she's gonna get ready for the day, have a shower, get dressed, and if there's like a common room or something, she's gonna spend her time there with her notebook and kind of going over notes, making additional ones, and kind of sitting and waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin is still in his dark room, and he begins to pull his photos from the chemicals and hang them out so that they may dry, and goes back into his room and puts on sort of more of a casual yet formal attire, and he buttons up his little vest, and he rolls his sleeves up, grabs a camera and a fresh roll, and heads out and just begins to photograph more of the surroundings and the environment and take little notes here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Thaddeus, once he gets up moving, he'll actually pull out his newest acquired toy, and which would be the Luger, loads it up, and puts a little holster in his little, underneath his jacket, and puts the pistol in there, and would head out and, also try to find a common room.
Yes, there is a common room on the ground floor of the hotel. Makes sense as a meeting place,
That's very good.
gathering place. So I'm going to assume that it's in a bit the 4 of you have gathered there, probably by later in the morning.
Is there like a complimentary breakfast at all?
There's no complimentary breakfast, but you can get breakfast.
Yes, once everybody kind of assembles into the common room, Natalia will flip her notebook down, adjust her ponytail, making sure it's high and straight, like the 3 gentlemen. Do you all want to go and maybe satiate ourselves for the morning?
Well, yes, that sounds like a wonderful idea.
I think that would be very good, actually.
Jesse?
Alright.
I had a little trouble hearing on that one.
Oh,
What were you
sorry.
saying? Sorry.
About going out to breakfast. And Jesse would actually know some decent places to eat in Lima, since he's been here a few days now.
Oh, yeah, we can definitely go grab some breakfast. Let's see. It starts to think about some areas. It's a place called, let's see.
Kind of see where you are, the number,
Where?
the bar was number 2. Your hotel is number 4. And Ghost, you know that Larkin and Mendoza have rooms at the Hotel España, which is number 3.
So we're at 4?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I know of a nice little pleasant place we can have a good breakfast, perhaps even a bit of brunch, if we're being honest. I think brunch was invented in 1920. Bit of brunch, if we're being honest. Yes. Actually, between where we're at and where we're supposed to meet.
Perfect. Shall we?
All right. You have a leisurely brunch. We're going to assume that word has been invented, and if it hasn't, the notion exists at least of having a late lunch or a late breakfast or early lunch. So you have plenty of time to eat and still make it to the Museo de Arqueologia y Antropologia, if I'm saying that correctly, a little bit south of your position. All right, so as you approach the school, the museum is part of the University of Lima, and the Museum of Archaeology appears to be a rather recent construction. It is a couple stories high, and it has columns in front and sort of a grand stair leading up, and it's not too difficult to find your way around. It's fairly quiet on a Saturday morning, and Jesse knows where the doctor's his office is on the first floor.
You know, taking the sights a bit, but we are moving with purpose, so I would kind of make my way through and find the professor's office.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You get to the door, and the door has his name. Professor Nemesio Sanchez there's a little placard on the front of the door.
I would knock, not forcefully, I think just lightly to make our presence known.
Mm-hmm.
And the door is opened, and standing in front of you inside his office is a older gentleman with a white beard, a white mustache. He has some round glasses on, somewhat stern look on his face until he sees Jesse, and he smiles and he says, "Ah, hola, amigo," and he puts his hand out to shake his hand.
Good to see you, my friend. He reaches out and shakes the professor's hand.
And then the professor looks around at the others and nods his head and looks back at Jesse. "Friends of yours, amigo?"
Oh, yes, I believe they will be. I think they're very interested to hear about our discussions. Well, I figured they'd be nice to have along in this case. Oh, let me introduce you. I'm sorry. And he, everybody, this is Professor, is it Nemesio Sanchez? Nemesio?
Nemesio.
This is Professor Nemesio Sanchez, an associate of mine. We've been having some conversations about archaeology and other things.
Natalia will step forward. And it is very nice to meet you, Professor Sanchez.
Professor Sanchez puts his hand out.
And she'll take it. My name is Natalia Vascovia. I am very intrigued to hear your professional opinions on the locals here and what's going on. I personally have dabbled in some archaeology anthropology myself, and I'm interested to hear your views.
Yes, señorita. And then he looks over at Jesse. Ay, tú eres muy bonita. And he kind of laughs a little bit and turns back to her. Señorita, yes, Senor Jesse and I have been talking about these for some day now, and we have some ideas. Then he looks to the rest of the group. And you, my friends, who might you be?
Thaddeus will step forward and hold out his hand. Thaddeus Pepin, it's a pleasure to meet you, Professor Sanchez.
It's a pleasure to meet you as well, my friend.
I'm looking forward to hear about this great country of Peru. Maybe even more about that the expedition we're gonna have to go on.
There's a knock on the door. And the
Yes.
door opens and a young woman appears at the door, and she looks in at the bunch of you and she says, "Oh, Professor, they are here. You would like me to get the things to show them?"
Yes, Trinidad. Please, everyone. This is my assistant, Miss Rizzo. If you could just say hello to her. Hello, Miss Rizzo. If you could, please, go collect the items and bring them to the office right away. These fine people here, they have questions.
She smiles and says, "Right away, Doctor." And she says, "It's a pleasure to meet all of you."
You as well.
Oh, the pleasure is ours, I'm sure.
And she goes out and closes the door behind her.
Yes, that was my assistant. She is most helpful here. She does research and she does some investigation for me when I cannot find things. My eyes, they are old now, and I have these spectacles. But her eyes, they are young. She looks for me.
Very.
Benjamin, while they have been talking, he's been kind of looking around the room and kind of surveying this little office area and all the books. And he turns around and he says, my apologies. I am sorry. I got a little bit caught up. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Benjamin Wagner. He extends a hand. I
Senor
did not...
Wagner, nice to meet you.
And the pleasure is mine. I'm sorry to have been so abrupt just now. Somebody was on mute.
Okay, I don't understand what's happening.
May we sit?
Yes, of course, you please. Yes, where are my manners? Sit, everyone sit, siéntese.
And Natalia finds a seat, crosses her legs, takes out her notebook. She takes out her copper fountain pen, kind of gets it ready.
Thaddeus will sit down, eyes open, ready to hear all this interesting information.
Benjamin actually doesn't sit down. He just continues to kind of look around the room and inspect all the books on the wall.
And the professor, he goes and he sits behind his desk. He has an old wooden desk that's covered with papers and books and different writing utensils, some manuscripts, just a bunch of different things. His office has, these stark white walls and wooden ceiling, and it looks warm and rustic in there. He sits down behind his desk. There's some sunlight coming through the window, kind of shining on his desk, and he looks over at Jesse. And what has Senor Jesse told you so far?
Just oh no, my apologies. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh no, she's saying to Jesse, go ahead.
I haven't told them well, too much about the folklore aspect, but I thought they'd want to hear everything together. Your observations on the archaeology and interest in the expedition, and of course I could talk about my fascinations with the folklorical aspects of it.
Well, yes, my interest with the expedition is, of course, very, very obvious. This is a legitimate piece of the history of Peru, and this Senior Larkin, he chooses to go on a mission, but he does not invite anyone educated, barring your invitations, of course, not to be insulting. He does not invite any of the professors of archaeology, of history, from the country of Peru. I have requested to go with him, and he has declined all my offers, and it is very frustrating.
Well, why do you think that is?
I do not know. I've wanted to go with him. I have sent letters. I have even approached him at his hotel, and he makes excuses for why this isn't the proper time for us to be a part of this expedition. But nonetheless, it is still something that is part of Peru's history and Peru's culture. It should be the people of Peru who uncover it, who find it, and it is to no avail. All of my arguments fall on deaf ears with that Larkin.
May I ask, is it all of Peru that wants this uncovered, or just the scientific portion?
I am sorry, Senorita. Can you repeat that?
My apologies. Is it all of Peru that wants this uncovered, or is it just the scientific community?
Oh, well, I of course cannot speak for all of. It's a big country, and he kind of just laughs, and the others. But of course, it is the educated, the professors, the scientists. They of course are all in agreement. The ones I have talked to, anyhow, they want to be a part of this. They want to know what is going on, and unfortunately, that information has only been passed on to a couple of people, colleagues that I have talked to. But we are in agreement that this is something that needs to be done for Peru and by Peruvians.
So, I do not want to put words in your mouth, but does it sound like the Peruvian scientists want to take over this expedition? As you say, you want it to be discovered by people of Peru, maybe not an outsider.
Hold on one moment, sorry.
Why don't
It's
we
okay.
take a very brief bio break again?
Intermission.
Excellent.
Oh, too Star Warsy.
That's not proper intermission music.
Oh boy. Damn sexist doctor. Professor, whatever. Everyone is.
I don't think he's sexist. He just thought she looked good. Clearly, he supports women in the industry. He has a intern or student that's doing work.
Yennefer.
I believe that her name
Yennefer.
is Trinidad.
It is.
Yes.
I just saw the picture and I'm like, ah!
How come it looks like Cartman's hand?
I am Jennifer Lopez.
Hello.
It's really Mitch Connor. Don't forget.
Oh boy.
I feel better.
No. Good to know. Thanks, Sim.
Yep. I don't know what you thought, but I just poured myself another drink of water.
I thought you went pee.
This isn't a bow. This isn't a bow game. Don't worry. There will be no background pissing noise in the toilet and intermission break.
Jesus.
Oh my.
That's unfortunate.
It'll strike you as a surprise the first time you hear it, but there will be a day.
Already.
There will be a day where you're playing a boat game. Like, hold on, we're gonna take a quick break, and then you hear the sound of
Does
water.
it sound like it's into the bottom of a bottle or can?
No, he takes the mic with him.
Oh
Yep.
my.
He has no reason to, but he does it anyway.
The
Like
wondrous
in Naked-
invention of
kinda like in
Bluetooth.
Naked Gun when Leslie Nielsen goes into the bathroom.
I
Microphone.
discovered very quickly that I cannot use Bluetooth around where I was at the time.
What? I'm sorry. What? Repeat this.
Touching dicks.
I don't know what they heard. I don't know what was heard.
That's
Touching dicks.
That's the
Alright, I
Bluetooth.
have to pause this recording, I think.
Oh, I'm not.
Alright,
yeah.
we are back. Let's return to our office.
And the professor, he's, rifling through some papers, and he looks absent-mindedly and then realizes you were asking him a question, and he kind of puts his fingers up to the bridge of his nose and shakes his head. And he looks up and sets the papers down on the desk. He says, I am sorry. I get distracted so easy these days. It's my age. What was it you were saying, señorita?
Yes. Again, Natalia Lascodia is the name. What I was asking is that, as you said, so mentioning that you would like the discovery to remain discovered by people of Peru, the scientific community, is maybe that's why you are upset that you are not invited to this? Though I will argue that it would be pertinent to have someone from Peru, especially from the science community, to be within the expedition, but maybe that is why you feel so strongly. It's an outsider.
Yes, of course. Of course. That's one of my biggest problems with this whole thing. I mean,
Benjamin will actually turn around at this moment and he just says, "Is this delicate matter? Is this like sacred ground of some sort?"
sacred ground. I mean, it is sacred to anyone with an education who is interested in our history and interested in our culture. And he kind of gets a little upset. But if you're asking about the supernatural, the spiritual, you're talking about folklore, I can't give any credence to that. It's simply that, folklore. It's the missives of peasants and farmers. They live in those areas and they have their superstitions. I can't speak to that. There's obviously no way those stories can be true.
Have you spent much time out there yourself?
In that specific location? No, of course I haven't. But I am currently, as we speak, working on getting my own expedition out there first before this foreigner can come in and try and claim the victory of finding some of Peru's culture and uncovering it for himself.
This is going to turn into sort of a Lewis and Clark race against time, so to speak. They, I believe, were against several other adventuring groups or exploring groups. So it will be interesting to see. I do wish you very good luck. And I hope that I may be able to ask you questions sometime down the line. To be very interested in that indeed.
This Larkin, he can't be anything more than, well, I hate to say it, but I fear he is a grave robber. He is simply there for treasures.
Yes, well, perhaps all of us are after our own treasure. We are all treasure hunters of a sort. Do you agree, Professor?
Yes, but some of us, our treasures are more honorable, education, culture.
What makes it so that you do not think he will provide the exact same thing that you aim to do? Is it because he's foreign? Just because he's foreign?
Any legitimate expedition would seek help from the local colleges, from the local scientists, from the local archaeologists. If you wish to be seen as legitimate, that is what you do when you're in another country.
Natalia will continue taking notes.
So anyways, that is what my papers here are for. I am looking for the exact location so that I can get there first. And currently, where is she? Rizzo. She is down in the basement looking for other information that will help us locate the locations.
Do you have the resources in the team to even go out there?
Well, that is set in motion. We are speaking to people, students, and he kind of laughs a little bit. The students, surprisingly, will work for free if credit is involved. Where is Rizzo? She'll be back soon.
There were some other aspects that I wanted to discuss with you all while we were here. It's tribute to some of my conversations I've had with Professor Sanchez here for part of the reason we actually made contact was that I was looking for some information about some of my gatherings as folklorist. Learning about some interesting things in this locale. Make sure that I would be up to snuff on the expedition. Tell me, are any of you familiar with something known as the Karasiri?
Come on, what?
No. I've not heard of that.
I see. Well,
And you, when he says that, you see Professor Sanchez roll his eyes.
Jesse will see it and kind of smirks. Well, the professor's a learned man, and I must admit I have my doubts as well. But it is interesting. You can cut truth from folklore from time to time. The Karasiri, sometimes referred to as the Pishtaku, the Nakak, they're these supposedly man-like supernatural beings that roam around Peru and Bolivia attacking travelers, wanderers. They say sort of similar to vampires, if you believe it. Drain the victim of fluids and leave them behind as a husk. Of course I don't buy into such things. But there is some truth in superstition. And when you look for it, you find connections. Some of the folklore around this region, what Larkin's a bit hesitant to come forward with, just because there are some, how heavily it is believed, there are some stories, true stories, and he looks at Professor Sanchez, of murder in this kind of locale.
Professor Sanchez waves his hand as if to say no. He said, Senor, there are murders in every country. There are murders in every city, in every state, in every country all over the world. Simply because we have murders here, you cannot claim it on the Calabisi or vampires. And he kind of laughs and shoves his papers to the side of his desk.
Well, no, of course not. But you must admit there's some interesting ideas as far as how specific a method of murder some of these things are. Murder, mutilations.
Wild animals. Simply wild animals. There's the jungle out there. Do you not think there are beasts?
Perhaps, but I think it is interesting that... I don't know. Something tells me it's not so simple. These... Too many connections. Again, I'm right there with you, Professor. I don't think that vampires exist. Peru, all the sunlight you guys get down here, they'd hardly have a chance. But... I don't know. There's just something strange about this whole business. I think that people are probably involved, but it is a area of interest for me.
Sounds quite interesting. You don't think it'd be the locals trying to stop people from disturbing their areas they hold near and dear to their hearts?
Potentially. I'm not going to know until I investigate a bit further into it. I have some contacts that I'd like to try to meet up with, but I'm also reading through, and it's difficult to tell. It could be, but the thing is, this kind of information's been around long before any kind of investigation or expedition came out here. That's the thing. It's existed for quite some time, this legend, and also the murders as well. And he kind of pauses and looks. And I would have seen his student before, right, Miss
Yes.
Rizzo? I remember last time that I was here, Professor, Miss Rizzo was very quick to come back last time that she had went to gather materials. He kind of looks back at the door and...
Yes, well, she is probably lost in the stacks there, distracted. She regularly does that. She starts looking through papers. As a matter of fact, she is looking through for a specific paper. It is from, it was a conquistador. His name was Gaspar Figueroa. And
She said she had
that's
prepared
what
some
she's...
notes about it too.
Yes, she is down there looking. But, yes, you're right, Mr. Jesse. She has been gone quite a while, but in these stories of vampires, I think they're making us a little edgy. These are just stories. I mean, when I was poquito niño, my mother, bless her heart, madre, she told me stories. They are meant to keep kids from going into the jungles. They don't want to get eaten by wild animals, and mothers and grandmothers, my poor Abigail. She told us these same things all the time. You do not go into the jungle. There are vampires and there are monsters out there, and you will get eaten. And so we did not. And that is probably one of the reasons why our country has not been able to find the pyramids. And he just starts going off on this rant about not being involved in this expedition again and not being able to go after the pyramid. And he's obviously very upset about it.
Benjamin, in the meantime, is thumbing through books on the shelves, rifling through the cupboards and stuff, just being entirely nosy. And he takes a particular book off the shelf, and it's one written in German. It is actually based on archaeological procedure. This work here, Professor, this is in German. Are you well versed in the German language?
I don't know any German, but look at the binding, look at the thread, look at the leather on that. It has such good texture. It is soft. It is not like these modern books that are sometimes made and sent to us, manufactured and shipped in boxes. No, that is an antique. It is something I cherish. I don't know what it says. I cannot read it, but I can look at it and enjoy its beauty.
And actually, Benjamin holds it up to his nose. Yes, and it actually has quite an interesting smell. I don't know if you are interested in having it translated at some point, perhaps.
I have
Maybe.
thought of that. Someday, yes. Maybe you could do it for me.
Would it be possible, maybe, if I take this book and back to my room to study overnight? I can bring it back whenever you would like, of course.
Feel free, amigo. Feel free to take it.
Okay, I only asked because you were just saying how near and dear to your heart it was, and honestly, I would just like to be sure. You are most certain?
Yes, it is art, but what is it if you can't share artistic items, if things that you love, cherished items with friends?
Ah, very good, Professor, very good. And he'll kind of stuff it into a satchel on his side. And he'll come and join the group, put his camera down and put the books down. He's jotted a few notes on these vampires and such as the professor has been speaking. Please continue.
I think poor Miss Rizzo has become lost. She is probably lost in her research. I would love it if maybe someone could go find her.
Yes, Professor. I'll go ahead and go check and see on Miss Rizzo. You said she was down in the archives?
She is the archives in the basement.
Ah, yeah. I'll go ahead and go do a quick check on my see if I can find her then and bring her back presently.
And
Go on.
while you are down there, if you wouldn't mind showing the others the archives in the basement, I could tell you, Senor Benjamin, if you enjoy that book, there are many more books down there, scrolls, books, parchment, plenty of interesting things for you to find, maybe for all of you to peruse. I'm sure Rizzo can show you what she is working on, but please bring her back here as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Jesse will stand up, put his hat on, and make towards the door.
Alright, is anyone else joining Mr. Hughes?
Do you want to go downstairs to the archives?
Yes, that's where I'm heading.
Yeah, Natalia will also get up from her chair, on crossing her legs and standing, and she puts her notebook and pen away before following behind Jesse.
Yeah, Thaddeus will do the same. Interested in what's down there.
Benjamin will follow suit.
Okay. Jesse knows the way. He was down there once before, when they were first looking for things, at the beginning of your investigations about this. So you go downstairs into the basement. It's kind of dimly lit, and you can see that while it's neat, at least, your impression is that it is pretty poorly organized. There's walkways, but there are many shelves lining the walls, and it is sort of like a long central corridor, and off of that are kind of jumbled shelves and trunks and things, and it appears that they have quite some way to go before all of this is truly organized. So you can imagine having some difficulty locating things down here. It looks like there's many crates that probably have been here a while, and no one has even opened.
Jesse would come down and, Miss Rizzo, you down here? Start looking around.
Interesting down here.
Benjamin will actually pull his camera out, just snap a couple of shots and close-ups of some of the more odd items, some of the more obscure
There
things.
are many odd things. There are, there's certainly old cups and pottery that had been found. You see some books on shelves. There are skeletons of probably people from hundreds, maybe even 1,000 years ago. That some of which are in decent shape, and some of which seem like they're just bones in a box that no one has really bothered to go through yet.
And there's no immediate response when
No.
I call
No.
out. Does anything seem out of place? I mean, I know it's a bunch of esoteries that are down here, a bunch of strange things. But is there anything that seems wrong? Like, you haven't noticed anything like things knocked over or anything like that?
You can certainly try a spot hidden. Well, many things seem out of place, but nothing stands out to you as being, maybe upset or thrown about. You do, however, notice some stains on the floor in the dim light.
What color?
As you get down and look, they look like maybe boot prints or shoe prints. They're slightly reddish in tone, or dark black, something like that.
Do I remember what kind of shoes Miss Rizzo was wearing?
She was wearing low heels. They do not look like
consistent
her.
shoes.
No.
I guess
Actually,
he's gonna look around.
make a spot hidden for me to see what you remember about her, since you're asking. Yeah, you didn't notice. She was only there very briefly. You didn't really notice entirely. You noticed her shoes, we'll say, but other than that, you don't really remember exactly.
Yeah, Jesse will stand up and look around. And something's not right.
What are the rest of you doing?
So Benjamin was getting pictures, and he's just kind of walking around.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, just getting general pictures, and he notices that Jesse's stumbled across something, or he's gotten down to the floor, I assume, to further investigate something, and he walks over and he gets a couple of pictures.
Okay. They're just boot stains. Somebody obviously stepped in something and tracked it on the floor.
Wow, this place, it's full of wonder.
Maybe we should follow it.
Thaddeus walking around staring at the different objects, wondering priceless stuff, and hears about boot prints and following. Do they look like they lead anywhere?
They do. They're definitely somebody walking. Do you want to follow them to where they're going or where they came from?
Were there...
I'd say where
They
they
didn't
came
come from the same direction, right?
What? I don't understand your question. Come from
Oh,
the same
sorry.
direction.
So they didn't. It's not like they're coming from the direction that we're coming from. It's a further deep in, or what
Yeah,
exactly?
it's
like,
coming
where these trails
from
lead?
further down the hallway.
Yeah, that's where Jesse's going to go towards.
Okay.
As he's walking along, he's going to continually. Miss Rizzo.
Yeah, as you go along, you notice that the stains are a little thicker the further along you go. Where you first saw them, they were a little incomplete. And you see they kind of terminate, and they came from like the left, and there's sort of like an impromptu alcove of just a bunch of things piled up in here, and you see there is something of a puddle of blood in the middle of this little area, and someone has left a mummy in the middle of the floor and clothed it in modern clothing. It's very odd.
What?
What in the hell?
Benjamin wastes no time and begins to take pictures of
And
it.
Benjamin, make a spot hidden for me, please. Okay. You are taking pictures.
Natalia will go over and kind of look over at the blood. So the mummy's lying in the blood,
Yes.
yeah? And she'll kind of lean down and hesitantly kind of touch the blood there and see if it's fresh at all.
It is definitely fresh. It is still quite wet.
I don't understand how can something like this happen.
You can make a spot hidden for me as well, please. You-
100!
yeah.
Das ist gut.
You're just, you can't take your eyes off this mummy. There's something weird about it, but you're not sure what. Like it just has you transfixed.
What is wrong with this? Jesse's gonna look around and try to avoid the blood, trying to get on his shoes.
The idea is that they're staring at the bodies. The professor's research system was down here.
Either way, I do believe this is something that needs to be reported most immediately.
Jesse sees that there, not too far from the mummy, is a box, like a crate, an open-topped crate, not very large, that is partially shattered, and inside is a book and a handwritten piece of paper, sort of crumpled a little bit at an odd angle in there. And not far from the crate is a gold, it looks like perhaps solid gold strip of some sort of beaten metal, of some beaten gold rather.
Jesse will walk over, look at the gold, but be more interested in the note and try to read into that.
Okay. You can see the book has an old, worn, natural leather binding. It does not look like it was professionally produced, but sort of produced in an amateurish way. And it has very faded title written on the front, and in Spanish it says the final confessions of Gaspar Figueroa.
Benjamin is taking pictures of all of this, the note and everything.
This was the book that she was going to get, right? The assistant.
Perhaps. Thaddeus, why don't you make a spot hidden for me, please?
All right.
Nope. Okay. So Natalia's staring at this mummy, kind of transfixed. Benjamin, you're taking pictures. And Jesse's kind of looking at this crate and stuff. What are you doing, Thaddeus?
Thaddeus was looking at the body, and like I said, he was, trying to deduce because it's fresh blood, and the research assistant being down this way and everything, and just kind of trying to piece it together.
Yep.
At this point, just transfixed, let the wheels work.
What are you looking at, Jesse?
The note now, not so much the book. There's like a handwritten note.
Yes, it is a handwritten note. It's actually written in English. So, are you reading it, or are you just looking at it briefly?
I'm definitely kind of reading it at this point, especially when a certain name catches my eye.
Okay.
So, as he's reading it, it's written down in the handwriting. It says Spanish, written by Gaspar Figueroa, 1543 on vellum. Figueroa, a Spaniard who traveled to Peru with Francisco Pizarro. According to the text, Figueroa set out to seek his own fortune following Pizarro's assassination in 1541. He was accompanied by Hernando Ruiz Diego, Garrido Luis de Mendoza, and Pedro de Velasco, fellow conquistadors who had served with Pizarro. They traveled into the southern highlands of the Andes looking for treasure, hoping to make their fortunes before heading back to Spain and retiring in luxury. Hearing rumors of an ancient temple filled with gold, the men set off into the mountains southwest of Lake Titicaca. There they found a pyramid surrounded by a maze-like structure of underground tunnels. The walls of the tunnels were inlaid with intricate gold carvings. The men pried out a large section of the gold, exhausting themselves in the attempt. That night, as they rested, an evil sickness befell Figueroa's companions. In the morning light, they looked gaunt and deathlike. Complaining of agonizing hunger, they pursued Figueroa. De Mendoza caught up with them and started to devour him like a human leech. Figueroa shot his friend in the head and fled, pausing only to snatch up as much of the gold as he could carry. Figueroa eventually arrived back in Lima, hoping to get passage home, but he was too weakened by his ordeal. Figueroa described himself as wasted, little more than a walking corpse. I read Final Confessions as Figueroa's attempt to lift the guilt that his avarice had placed upon him. He believed that his fate and that of his companions was brought about by their desecration of a holy place, and his most fervent wish was that he could undo the damage he had inflicted. He describes how he can still hear his friends' voices crying out with inhuman hunger, and how in the dark of the night he can hear another voice, ancient and seductive, promising him eternal life if he returns to the temple. The voice told Figueroa how to contact him, but it seems Figueroa was too afraid to ever attempt this. A postscript written by the priest who performed the last rites states that Figueroa died a day after completing his final confessions. His last words were an entreaty to whatever gods were listening to forgive him and his blasphemies.
After reading it, Jesse would obviously take great interest in it and take it back to everyone else and here, take a look at that. Pass it
Benjamin
over to Natalia.
kind of asks for Natalia to position it and hold it out so that he can get a clear picture of it.
And Natalia will stand back up from her crouch position over the mummy, and she holds a note with her non-bloodied hand kind of out so the rest of them can see it. And she reads it and kind of gets stuck on one particular name. Coincidence.
What exactly do you mean is a coincidence?
Well, if you look at the notes, it's a very similar name pops up. She'll kind of point, she'll gesture to the Luis de Mendoza.
Ah, yes, that is very curious. That was the name of Mr. Erlach, his companion. This is very odd indeed. I don't know if such a thing. I guess I don't entirely know how common a name Luis de Mendoza is. So it could be difficult to speculate. Perhaps the Mendoza that we know now is a direct, bears familiar
Most likely.
ties. A direct descendant.
That would make the most sense.
Or they just happen to share the same last name. It's not uncommon.
True. This is just a interesting piece of documentation.
Might be worth bringing up later, though.
And there's that piece of that gold piece on the floor, correct?
Yes.
So Natalia will go over to it, kind of look at it, crouch down,
Okay.
turn it over, like grab it and look at it.
It is an engraved strip of gold. Fairly heavy. About 2 feet long.
This might have been what was mentioned in the document.
Could very well be.
We should maybe go back upstairs, speak to the professor.
But where's Miss Rizzo at?
I'm unsure.
We better, yeah, where'd this flesh blood come from?
It's a good question. I am not a doctor in medicine, so can't tell you.
Why would anybody put this? Jesse's just kind of scratching his head.
Is there maybe, do they store bottles here or something? Is there, like,
But
testing?
why? Yes, I suppose you could test, but why would you? Why would you want to store bottles of blood? It just does not make sense.
I
These
don't,
clothes. Jesse looks at the clothes. No,
what?
this is the exact outfit that Miss Rizzo was wearing.
Are you suggesting that this is Miss Rizzo?
I mean, it can't be, but he goes and he checks one of the pockets on the mummy and
You find a small ID card and a little personal pocketbook, like very small pocketbook with some change in it, and it says that it is Trinidad Rizzo with her black and white, of course, picture on it.
and Jesse looks at it in just disbelief, and then slowly turns that idea around and shows everyone.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
How could some things like this have happened? And Benjamin will actually begin to kind of look around and investigate this. Did you say it was a crate that had been busted
Yes.
open? And he'll begin to investigate that crate more closely.
Well, the pet is simply, it can't happen.
There's no way this can be real.
You know,
People don't just have this happen to them.
what it might be, as the professor is aware of the, what is it, the fables that are part of this area. Maybe as he is trying to look into this investigation, this is trying to steer us away from it.
That's what I'm thinking.
Can I do like a spot hidden on the crate?
Sure. On the crate.
In just in the crate in general, because you said it was the top was
Yes,
shattered.
so
and,
that's a good spot. So you deduce from the way it's broken and from the shape is that it looks like it was dropped there. It wasn't broken there, so someone was holding it and dropped it, and and bits of it broke off where in the corner where it fell hard.
Does it look like any real contents had rolled out or fallen out outside of this letter and you said a book?
Yeah, the letter and the book are the only things in it. The gold strip was just a couple feet away from the crate. You're fairly certain that did not fall out of the crate. I mean, it could have.
Okay, and now this book. Did Jesse look through the book or just kind of glance it over?
Glanced over it.
Okay. So Benjamin will first photograph the book, and then he will pick it up.
Okay.
This book is quite odd, I think. What do you make of this, Sadius?
Thaddeus can look at it. It's in Spanish, so it doesn't help him much.
I thought this was more his area of expertise, though.
Yeah, he can look at the book and try to get an idea. You could do a general education roll for just general idea, archaeology to get more specific about where it may have come from or how old it was. That's
Okay, hang on a second. Yeah, I'll do an actual. I'll do an education roll, if you don't mind. Maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So your suspicion is that it, it's a handwritten book. It is at least 200 to 300 years old. That much you can tell. As mentioned in the notes, there is a something at the end written in a different hand, signed by a priest, that it was that he was kind of a witness to the death of the author. It seems pretty legit to you.
Okay. So, Benjamin will actually put this in his little satchel as well. I think this is best if we take this back to the professor.
We should go and let him know that his assistant has disappeared and this has happened.
And Natalia, you can make a spot hidden for me too while he's been looking at that, and you've got the gold strip in your hand.
Sure.
Okay.
We should confront him. I have a feeling he might be part of it.
I think he's trying to scare us away. He's pretty adamant that he doesn't want the foreigner discovering anything, any hidden treasures.
I don't know. I've known Professor Sanchez for a little bit of time, and he doesn't seem like that kind of guy. This don't seem... No. This isn't something that he would do. I don't know. I got a feeling. This is something else.
Then what should we do?
I think we definitely got to tell him what's going on down here. She's missing.
Yes, and there is a body laying on the ground in a pool of blood. So I think it would be best to at least call alarm to the fact that there is a body here.
Well, it is a mummy. It probably is part of this whole collection. I mean, we could let them know that it's a mess. There's that's we should just go talk to the professor, say that his assistant is missing. That's kind of the more pressing issue.
Well, yes, either way, I feel it is best that we don't violent, so we best be moving quickly, I think.
Okay. I take it that means you are heading back up to the office. Okay.
I would look at the boot prints again.
Yes.
Probably to see where they go.
The boot prints actually lead down the hallway. There is a second staircase, not the one that you took, and it's a little hard to follow them, but you catch little bits of the stain on the boot prints as they head up the stairs up to the ground floor.
Yeah. Jesse would just shake his head and head back and then to go to the professor.
Okay.
Herr Hughes, do you know exactly where that secondary staircase goes? Where does that
It
lead?
just goes back up to the ground floor. There's just
Different
a
place
couple
in
ways
there.
down into the stacks down there, the basement area rather.
That's quite convenient.
Yes, indeed. As were my thoughts exactly.
All right. You return to the office. The office door is closed.
Natalia knocks.
Okay.
Professor?
There is no answer.
And Natalia kind of rolls her eyes a little bit. And she knocks harder. Professor?
Again, there's no answer.
Maybe we should open it.
Is
Just
the
private
door
It's
locked?
not locked.
Natalia opens it.
All right. You open the door, and the professor is not in his chair. His chair is knocked over, and you see the professor lying sort of in the middle of the rug there.
And
On his
Natalia will rush
back.
over. Yeah, Natalia's gonna rush over and see if he's okay. Kneel down. Professor!
He is alive, but he seems to be asleep.
She'll kind of slap his cheek a few times. Professor?
Is there any injuries on him? Anything that...
There's no immediate. You don't really see any injuries or any evidence of any kind of damage done to him. It just seems like he passed out.
I think all of this is too it's not coincidental. I don't believe that some things like this, where there is a mummy down in the basement in a pool of blood, and then the professor laying on the floor next to a chair, which is also knocked over. I don't believe that this could be coincidence.
Natalia, make a spot hidden for me as well, please.
Alright. See if I can do it this time.
No.
Nope. So, I was just kind of like trying to like tapping his cheek instead of seeing, he's not waking
It looks
up.
like he's been drooling.
Yeah, she's gonna wind up and, slap him hard.
Okay. That kind of brings him around a little bit.
What happened?
The professor just kind of lies there, moaning to himself, and his head is slowly and gently kind of rocking side to side as he lies there on the floor. And you can hear him trying to say something, trying to whisper something.
Natalia will lean closer. What is it?
Beso. Beso. Oh. Beso.
Peso?
Peso?
Oh.
What does it mean?
And he keeps repeating the word beso, 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 as he just kind of, his head rocks back and forth and he's moaning.
We need to get into a doctor.
Jesse, do you know where there's a doctor nearby?
I know what beso means, right?
Well, if anyone knows Spanish, they can roll on their language skill.
I believe I'm the only one that knows Spanish.
And that should be really common too, right? That's an easy
Oh,
word.
I think I know it.
Yeah, you can roll, and I'll an extra die, so you get a +1 die on that.
Oh, where's the... I said I had Spanish.
Yes, you know Spanish very well.
Oh, I just don't see it in the...
Oh, you know Spanish very well. Then you don't need to roll. Then, if you know Spanish very well, Jesse knows that the word beso means kiss, and Professor Sanchez is lying on the floor, and his head is rocking back and forth, and he just keeps saying beso, beso.
He's dying.
And he's mumbling to himself, and as you get more of the information, Jesse realizes it's not just the word kiss that he's saying, but better translated, he's saying, he kissed me. He kissed me. He kissed me. And go ahead and, Jesse, make a spot hidden check while you're looking at him. You just see him lying there, just rolling, and he's just mumbling to himself, and he's just kind of repeating the same thing over and over and over, just moaning, and he says, he kissed me. Best.
It makes sense. And Jesse just walks up and... Let's get him up. It doesn't make sense what he's saying.
We need to get him to a hospital, and Natalia's gonna crouch slightly and actually haul... I'm pretty sure I'm strong enough for this too. Haul the professor up by herself and kind of carry him. I think with an 80 strength, I think I got this.
Yeah, it's not easy, but yeah, you can manhandle, because he's also kind of limp, so he feels heavy.
Can I make a spot hidden on the room? I mean, is because those tracks led all the way over this secondary set of stairs. Is it possible?
Make a spot hidden. Ah, okay. You're looking around, and on the wood here, before the carpet, you do notice a small piece of, or a small bit of the red stain that you saw downstairs.
Benjamin will quickly snap a picture of that before anybody puts their hands in it or steps in it by accident, and then quickly points it out. Look at this. Is it possible that this had something to do with the footprints down in the basement?
It might be, but we need to get him to the hospital.
In due haste.
Please.
Okay.
He's heavy.
He's delirious. He keeps saying someone kissed him. Man, he kissed me. That's what he's saying.
He kissed me? That's very weird. And he quickly jots this down. And can you what exactly is he saying in the Spanish version?
That's exactly what he's saying. It's just
Right, right. I mean, in Spanish, I guess I'd like to translate, or not translate, but have it written.
Oh,
So-
beso.
Beso. Okay. Thank you.
And Natalia's gonna kind of roll her eyes at the men and just start walking with this guy in her arms, just outside, like just leaving.
Okay.
We're going to the hospital.
You're not quite sure where
Jesse
the
will-
hospital is.
Yeah, Jesse will write a quick note and leave on the desk that the professor is out for the rest of the day, and then we'll follow. And I'm assuming I kind of know where a clinic
Yeah,
or
you know where
physique
the
is.
hospital is. So, it is actually. Number 6. It's not close.
How far of a walk?
That's
Probably
that's
a lot-
That's a
a
very
lot fa-
long walk. You're going to want to.
Probably much farther than the Fraulein is willing to carry this man.
Maybe someone would help me instead of standing around.
Sorry,
Yes,
I'm
yes.
I'll help out.
carrying
I'll help
this satchel.
And as you're standing there trying to figure out what to do, the professor kind of curls up into a ball even more, starts to lose grip on him as he...
Wait,
My stomach.
What are you doing to him?
I'm not doing anything.
There is a cab driving by if
Yes.
you want to hail it.
I'll hail it, flag
Okay.
it.
The cab pulls over and says in Spanish where to.
Si, senor. What is hospital?
How about Hospital? Sounds close. Yeah.
Hospital. I think that's what it is. It's hospital.
Hospital, hospital. And then open the back door to let the rest of
Okay.
them in, and then get shotgun if
Yeah,
if the
there
cabbie will
won't.
allow.
Yeah, there won't be room for all of you with the professor.
That's what I was going to ask. And actually, if there's not room, then Benjamin will elect to stay behind.
Okay. And the cab hurries off to the hospital. Where? What do you tell the staff there?
Jesse, you're the one who speaks Spanish.
Oh shit. So I would go ahead and speak with him. And just go over. We found him. He was lying on his floor. He might be delirious. We're not really sure what happened.
Okay.
He needs assistance. He's a very important man. Kind of go over who he is. and things
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
they're worried that he may be dehydrated. And then the nurse there says, "Don't worry. This happens a lot in the hot season." And she says, "We'll take good care of him."
And he nods and motions for Natalia to go ahead and let the medical staff take him.
Yeah, since apparently she's again carrying him alone.
I gotta negotiate.
she's gonna let the medical staff take him.
Thaddeus just seems to probably keeps his distance a little bit. Oh yes, you're handling that quite well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he's not even gonna try.
So as the medical staff throws him onto a gurney, they kind of cover him slightly with a sheet and start rolling him down the hallway. As the professor is being rolled down the hallway, you can just make out his moans and groans as he just continues to say, and he screams out one last time as he's pushed through 2 swinging doors and he disappears from your sight.
And Benjamin, what was he doing? He stayed behind.
Yes, Benjamin will actually go back into the house and just try to get some pictures and turn up anything more unusual. He's very curious about what's happening in the basement.
So he's gonna go back down to the basement and look around.
Yeah, and get some more pictures, and then I don't necessarily want to focus on the area where there's potentially a corpse, and he doesn't exactly want to get caught down here, so he's going to attempt to just kind of snoop around and sleuth around a little bit.
You can try another spot hidden for me.
Okay. Where's my... I don't have a token to click on.
You're right,
So
you don't. Let me give you one. All right.
Damn it!
You snap some more pictures. Nothing new really jumps out at you. And when you're done, I assume you go back upstairs, and I assume everybody else is heading back to the university. Is that correct? To meet up with Benjamin or not?
That would be my suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you all kind of reconvene on the campus ground there.
What do you think happens?
It is very difficult to determine. I did a little bit more investigating down in the basement and into the office a little bit. And I didn't really find anything of any particular use. But that is not to say that if perhaps all of us put our heads together and, extra sets of eyes, perhaps we could turn up something more useful than what I was able to by myself.
I don't know. How do you look down there? Maybe his office, maybe something is missing. Thing someone wanted.
That is very possible.
Yeah, the
But,
crate of
if
stuff
some-
in the gold strip is still in the room here.
Right. Well, I think that it's very odd that if somebody wanted something from him, then why come and sexually assault him?
I mean, he's not technically wrong.
Yeah.
No, I know. I know.
Maybe it is a Spanish thing? I don't know.
Nothing I've ever heard of, and I'm the folklorist. It's kind of...
There's no kissing fairy?
No, I think we'd have a lot to fear if that was such a thing. And look around and...
That would be a first for me. A manned kissing fairy who goes around during the day and kisses all the men. Very odd.
Yeah, strange stuff. And Jesse's gonna grab, I think we're gonna need this. Grabs the book and the gold.
Maybe.
Looks
at
around
least-
the office.
Maybe the show got this.
I never put the book up here. I put it in my satchel.
Oh, that's right, he has the book.
Okay. So it's just
Then I
the
have-
paper then. And the
Oh,
gold,
yeah, I'd take the-
and
I'd
the
have the
gold,
paper.
the heavy gold strip.
Erhius, who do you believe might be able to look through this book more thoroughly and give us any kind of clues as to what exactly, if maybe perhaps this note and this book are directly correlated? Something, I'm not entirely sure.
Well, I mean, I can certainly read it. I know of somebody else I may be able to get into contact with, but... Well... We're not going to see them just yet.
Mhm.
I can definitely take a look at it and mull over it. We can reconvene maybe in my quarters and talk more about it. But
Perhaps later tonight, if that would be agreeable.
yeah,
Perhaps maybe you could just do some loose translating of some of the passages within the book. Anything that strikes you as very odd.
perhaps, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel right in this place. Something's wrong. He just looks around. I don't get why anybody would do this to the professor. He's a respectable man.
Maybe we should report it to the police.
Yes, as I suggested long ago, we should report this. However, I have not taken such initiative to go and do so.
Apparently.
What are we gonna report is my question. You don't even
Well,
know what
the-
happened.
This man was sexually assaulted and there is blood down in the basement.
I'll
That
put
is-
It's all part of a ruse, I'm assuming. It's all part of a ruse.
So are you implying that the professor is in on?
No, it's not hard to lay down on the floor and take something that makes your stomach hurt, so that way it doesn't look like you're faking.
It seems an odd claim to say that some man kissed you on the lips or wherever he was kissed.
It's also odd that you dress a mummy up in modern clothing.
Well, the professor
Yes.
he was up here when all that happened. I don't think this is him. Something's not adding up.
Well, those footprints from downstairs, they led to another set of stairs going up. And this over here looks like blood, possibly from the footprint that we saw, the footprints downstairs.
So, whoever did whatever in the basement with the footprint did this.
That's what I would suggest.
Maybe it was the assistant.
I don't
removing her
think...
clothes and putting it in the mummy.
No, because the professor clearly said, according to Mr. Hughes here, he said he kissed me. I don't believe there is any kind of translational error. Is that correct, Hughes?
Yeah, that translation's right. Said he. Look, look. Let me see the book, and I'll see about getting this translated so it's prepared. It's a lot to go through. Maybe
Yes, absolutely.
you three can report this to the police. I don't know. Maybe anonymously, because if we have any hiccups before our expedition.
How do we report this anonymously?
Just
How thorough are these, the local police force? How good do you think they are? I mean, are they going to be able to figure something like this out, or just going to say it's a pool of blood with what appears to be a decayed corpse or a mummy dressed in modern clothing?
I don't know what the police will find, but I just don't want to bring any unnecessary attention to the expedition. There's already so much going on.
Yes, I do agree.
I think if we go and tell them that there's a mummy on the floor dressed in some clothes and a professor having some stomach problems, it ain't gonna lead to much.
Well, the thing is, it still, I think, should be reported. I don't know what they will be able to figure out, but there's blood down in the basement, a large pool.
It could be animal blood, it could be any type of blood.
Either way, we don't know that.
Mr. Benjamin, if you feel that you should report this, and I encourage you to do so, but I just ask that you leave the expedition out of it. There's been
Most
a lot
definitely.
planned for this.
Yes, that is something I plan on doing if everyone is in agreement. Or if it is agreeable, then I would most definitely like to report this, and possibly have this entire house investigated more thoroughly.
Yeah. Jesse would nod. Oh, I think we should head back. Those of us that aren't going to report. Maybe get some rest after this, and Jesse will take a last look around the room, see if anything seems missing or.
No. It is as you left it.
Yeah. Jesse would just, Mr. Benjamin, if you wouldn't mind providing me with that book, I'll head back to our estate in a little hotel and begin to look at some information on my end. See what I can find from the ramblings of a 400-year-old conquistador.
Yes, most definitely. And Benjamin reaches into the satchel, and here you are.
Thank you. Take it. I appreciate the three of you coming out here, coming along with me for this, and help me to humoring me, I guess, on Discovery.
I greatly appreciate the opportunity to come out here and speak with someone so knowledgeable on the region and the people, and to be so passionate, that is very rare to find.
Absolutely. I'll see you all back at the hotel.
Okay.
Hmm.
Safe
Sounds
travels.
good.
Alright, Jesse heads out. This would actually not be a terrible place to stop for the night. Unless you have some
Alright.
last minute discussions to do.
No, I think that we are all set here.
Yeah.
Alright then.
I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop.
Well, we'll see you on Sunday. The next session's only 3 days away.
Oh my god. You guys are killing me. You guys are killing me.
I know, we roll like
That's
crap.
That's alright, that's part of the game.
Wonder